How's it going today, guys? This is Tanner with Woodgrain. We're going to show you step by step on how to install wainscoting or batten board. So the idea behind this wainscoting, we wanted to be something that was going to be timeless. We wanted to go with more of a Craftsman type look, so we used really straight edged profiles. We used two specific profiles to create this look. Both are Woodgrain molding specific. We used finished elegance for the baseboard and the chair rail. The reason I really like the finished elegance product, it's a little more expensive, but the finish on it is immaculate. It's the best product in the industry. As you can see, if you get really close to it, it looks really smooth. Typically with the finished elegance product, it comes pre-finished in white. So we didn't necessarily want to go with a white feel for the wainscoting specifically, but if you're using that product, 90% of projects you're typically using trim, it's going to be white, so it's pre-painted for you, which is awesome, and that finish is immaculate. But for this one, we ended up painting a light gray. It's pretty timeless. It counters this white wall. But this was a pretty easy project all in all. So some insights for you guys. We ended up using some backer board for the bottom so we didn't have the texture in between the panels. I feel like that looks like a more finished, more thoughtful look rather than just kind of spacing it out and painting it and having that textured wall finish in between your panels. So I recommend that. You don't necessarily have to go that route, but I think it's a more finished product. So this wall was not that difficult to do, to be honest. I think the biggest challenge was making sure that our lattices were covering the seams of our backer board. So that was probably the trickiest part of this project. We just had to measure that out specifically and line that up so we didn't have big seams on the backer board and trying to finish that. It's really tough to make that look perfect. So that would be the biggest challenge with this wall. I would say it's probably a medium complexity as far as install. We did the entire room. This is just one corner. This room's a little tricky, just the fact we have a lot of angles, so it has this little back cove. So we had to make some outside corners, some inside corners, rather than just a cube like a typical office, but it kind of made for fun look and feel and add some dimension to the room. All in all, this took about, I would say, 2 hours for install and probably a good 2 hours for finishing and paint. Just the fact that it is a longer room, even though we can go ceiling to floor, it was just half the room. Some other insights with the wainscoting, we could have gone higher. You got to determine where you want that to sit on the wall. We felt like this was a good height. The other thing that you can determine is your spacing with your lattice, how far apart you wanted those. We want it to be pretty consistent, going for more of that Craftsman look and feel. So there's 5 simple steps you're going to follow to create the look. We're going to show you step by step. So the first step in this process is the planning stage. So you want to make sure you take the time to determine how much wood you're going to need for the specific area that you're covering, and also determine the look. There's a ton of different applications you can use. We offer a ton of different profiles. We're going to be using 3 different profiles specifically for this project, but depending if you want to do some cross planking or if you want to do boxes, you can kind of determine the look and feel you want to do. We're going to be running vertical board for a Craftsman type look and feel. That's just something we chose just for this space specifically, but determine what the look you're trying to achieve for the room, and that will give you a better idea of what you need to plan for specific profiles, molding profiles, and how much specific wood you're going to need. So plan it out. We always recommend to draw out your pattern, so draw it out so you can actually have a plan, and then you can determine your spacing as well. So step 2 in the process is measuring. So measure out your specific walls that you're going to be covering. You know the rule, measure twice, cut once. But within this space specifically, we have a lot of angles. We have a couple different corners that we're going to be dealing with. So we're going to do measurement by measurement for each specific wall. Wainscoting typically comes in 2 different sizes as far as what you see applied to the wall. You can definitely go off of that. You don't have to follow it specifically or perfectly, but you see a lot of 36-inch high, and you see a lot of 48-inch high. So a little higher, that splits 3/4 of the wall, or about half the wall is typically where you see that wainscoting or batten board. So we're going to go with the 36-inch high is kind of the range that we're looking for. A little bit lower, just this space is smaller and we don't have high ceilings. and it's a little tighter. So that's the reason we're gonna go with a lower sitting wainscoting. But if you determine you wanna go higher, obviously do the math and kind of figure out where your application needs to apply. So let's measure things out and determine how much wood we're gonna need with that, and we can start the third stage, which is installation. So third stage of the process is installation. This is where it gets the most time spent, but is the most fun, and really where the work comes in. So we'll have to determine our cuts, our spacing, and by determining our planning stage and our measuring, we can kind of help us in the application stage where we can just crank away. So these are the 3 wood grain profiles we're going to be using today. We're going to be using a 268 kind of lattice strip for our vertical lines. We're going to be capping it off with a chair rail, which is about a 3-inch by 1/2 chair rail board, S4S board. And then our base is going to be a little bit more substantial. We're going to be doing a 5-inch by 3/4 base that's going to be running along the base. So the other thing we're going to have is batten board you can buy from any local hardware store to apply along the base of the wall to give it a little bit more of a finished look rather than having the textured wall, so you have some differentiation. So those are the materials we're going to be using. Follow along. Let's get into the install.
So when we cut the wainscoting to our appropriate height, we want to take away maybe 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So when we install it, we can get it perfectly level, and the bottom gap will be covered up by baseboard. When it comes to cutting this stuff, I want to use my level. If you have an 8-foot level or a chalk line, you can snap it all the way across the board and then just cut that line right off. That'll be really good. Or if your chalk line broke because you don't know how to use a new one and get it all tangled up and snap it, you can use a 4-foot level. Just make 3 marks and run them all together.
Okay, we are in the middle of installing our boards. So what we've determined at this point, we have installed our base, and essentially this is what it's going to look like before paint. We ended up putting our chair rail on next and then ran our batten board vertically within the space. So essentially we're doing 16-inch gaps here. It's lining up with our studs pretty consistently. We're using a level to make sure that they're lined up correctly, and then double checking with a measuring tape here. So it's coming together really well. Inside, the other thing I'd recommend is your chair rail should be level, and the fact that all of these cuts are going to be the same. So once you determine what this cut is, which we said was 30 inches, we are essentially cutting them all at once. So it saves a lot of time not having to do cut after cut. We're cutting 6 to 10 at a time to save some time on this the strips going in. So getting close, coming together really well. Once we add some paint the wall, this thing's gonna look amazing. The other thing we gotta mention is when you're putting up this backer board, making sure that the seam is going to be covered with your strips. So determining where those breaks are going to be rather than place them in the middle and having to caulk those, and you're just not going to get a pretty finish. So making sure that those are lined up right where the lattice is going to be placed over it. So you won't be able to see the seam in a minute, and that's going to clean up really nicely. So the install's done. A few quick tips and tricks along the way. We're going to caulk everything in the finishing stage, but caulking your bottom seam and even your upper seam before you install the lattice is going to make it a lot easier. You're not going to have to gap it and kind of match the caulking lines together. So that's one piece you might want to jump in and actually do part of the finishing stage during your installation stage. So we've finished everything off. We added some caps on the corners. So any corner on the room, we've actually added a rail coming up. So besides that, we have 16-inch spacing. That's kind of what we decided that looked good and what we wanted to run with. But at this point, we're gonna finish with 3 different things. So 3 different things here. We're gonna be using pitch and paint. There's a couple different options. You can do wood filler. We're gonna fill all of our nail holes, all of our imperfections. If there's any blemishes, we're gonna fill it with this. This fills in the holes. This fills in the holes and the gaps a lot better than caulking does. Caulking will seek over time, but we're gonna use caulking to finish all of our seams. So anywhere you see the molding joining together, I'm gonna use my pitch and putty. And then all of my seams are going to be ran with our caulking. And this is important. This is a really important stage to get that finished Craftsman look. There's no way you're going to do a perfect install. The fact that you can cover up all your imperfections, this is where great walls come about. So take the time, make sure you do a good job on your finishing, and then we'll jump in the painting stage and how we're gonna paint this wall. So now that I've finished my putty within all the nail holes and the imperfections and joints that meet up that are wider than a nickel, I would say it's time for your caulking. So quick things with caulking, cut your tip at a 45-degree angle so you can apply it easier. It's gonna go on smoother. And the other insight for this, there's a ton of caulking tools and kind of widgets and whatnot. I simply just use your finger, use a cup of water, dab it, and get it moist and kind of run along that bead once you've applied it. So let's go after it. So the other thing, I always have a lot of paper. There's always excess caulking that needs to be wiped up, so have some paper with you and simply run your bead all the way up the entire panel. That's the top. Down the other side. So the other thing to keep in mind before you're caulking, to make sure your surface is clean, so try to dust it off. Try to get as clean as you can so you're not having to deal with dust being stuck in your seams. So our last stage in the finishing process is going to be sanding. We're going to sand all of our areas where we put our putty in, just to kind of get the surface flat, and then any joints. So on our base and our chair rail, we have a lot of joints kind of meeting together with miter cuts, so we're going to sand those with 220 grit sandpaper, and we'll be ready for paint after that. So guys, we've finished with all of our prep work. We are done with stage 4 and on to stage 5. So this is the final hurrah here. We're gonna paint. So this wall above is actually gonna be painted as well. This is gonna turn into like a really clean, simple white. And we've decided to go with a light gray for the wainscoting. A couple things to keep in mind when painting. It's always important to mask things off. This is going to take the longest to do. We are painting top to bottom, the base and the chair rail the same color, so I don't need to mask off my moldings to do a different color, but I do need to make sure the floor has some type of covering so I don't get any paint on the floor. So I don't need to tape even up here, just the fact that this wall is going to be a different color. Once I paint this wall, I'll just put a strip of tape along the top to make sure it doesn't bleed. So I like to use a roller, just the fact I can get in these big panels. I like to use one of the smaller rollers, which you'll see. Just the fact that it's easy to get into the crevices, it's foam, and the fact that it does contract and get into these tight spots really easily. The other thing I like is some form of a paintbrush or just a foam brush as well, so I can get into those areas my foam roller can't. So those are the two things I'm going to be painting with. You can also do a sprayer. Sprayers are nice in the regards that they apply a really nice finish. Not to say you can't get that finish with a roller or a paintbrush, but it's really fast, but you do need to make sure you're not overspraying, so you need to mask a little bit more. Let's get to this. Foam roller here. I'm gonna run it vertically up and down. I'm gonna need 2 different coats most likely, so this is my first coat. I don't have to get it perfect the first time, but the second time is really where I gotta make sure that there's an even, consistent So you can see I can get really close to the edge. I can't quite get all the way in that crack. So that's where my foam brush comes in. So one thing I didn't mention, before you start painting, you want to make sure that all the dust, debris, especially along the top trim of that molding, is clear. So I didn't necessarily do it on this video, I cleared it beforehand. You want to make sure that you get all of the dust and debris away from the molding. Just the fact that you just got done sanding during your finishing stage. That way your paint gets a smooth finish. So here's my brush. Typically getting that under seam down the seam there where my underseam, and then that down that vertical molding right in the crack. So really make sure I'm using both, and then on the top of the baseboard as well. So keep in mind, this is my first coat. I definitely need to do a second coat to get the coloring I want and the consistency in the paint. But so far, it's coming along. Be patient. Typically between coats, I like to wait about 3 hours is kind of what I typically do. Each paint's a little different, but I'll typically move to another project and come back after a good 3 hour period to let this dry. So guys, we are finished. I hope this was useful. I hope you got some good insights on how to create this look. Share with us, guys. I want to see what you guys are creating in your own homes or your own spaces. If you guys have any other insights on walls that we haven't done but you want to see at this point, let us know. Make sure you follow us at We Are Woodgrain. Subscribe, like, and comment. We are going to be releasing a ton more of these videos, and stay tuned.